Hello Rebornians, I hope you're faring well in this Reborn content drought. Since we've gone without new content for almost half a year now, I had a hard time thinking about what video I could make that hadn't already been done before. So, sync points. We all acknowledge them, we all sync to them, we all love them. But you see, back in the prehistoric era of early alpha, and also pre-alpha, there wasn't a map or any fast travel to be found, so sync points didn't really have any names outside of maybe internal dev names. Nothing public or anything. That all changed in 1.3, I believe, with the addition of the warp core alongside a more primitive version of the map, and also a bunch of unnamed checkpoints, although a few of them were named. That changed 5 months later in 1.41, where we got the map we have today, and also all the checkpoints now have names. Hooray! And no one cared. Which is a shame, since some of them have cool / funny names or references. That's why I've made this tier list here, and I'll be ranking the best checkpoints from S to F, starting with, maybe it would have been easier if I included the name. Yeah, fuck tier list, they're overdone anyways. Instead, have my hand-picked, masterfully curated list of the very best checkpoints that I found funny, clever, or noteworthy in any way, shape, or form. Let's start in downtown with number 1, called Number 1. This one's on top of the building where the crystal time trial ends, and gives a great view of all the shenanigans going on down there. To be honest, I only really included this one for the number 1 bit. Speaking of crystal, here's Gem, which has unofficially become the gathering hub for all Rebornians, but no one really cares about the checkpoint, since it's right next to Crystal. How sad! Something else that's sad is how neglected main spawn is. People don't go here as much, because quite frankly, it doesn't really fulfill its role as a main spawn. It doesn't even have the spawn plate anymore. Wrapping up the little trifecta here at Crystal and Glass is Cool Spot, which is ironic, since it's kind of lame. Moving on. Next up is a pretty nice one. Nice period. This is the only sync point with punctuation. Nice! But also kind of weird. Here's a cool one. Never Again. It's called that because of the poster right next to it, made by Kushinov Ilya on Instagram, promoting the game Never. I don't really know this game, but someone on the dev team surely must love it a lot. And if you didn't know, there's an Easter egg here. If you stand on a grassy vent and listen carefully, you'd hear forest noises. Pretty cool. Up next is New Beginnings, which is a place all Reborn players must go through. Despite being able to sync here, and also teleport to the spot, there's no sync point to be found. This, of course, leaves only one logical conclusion. Julian must have ate the sync point, and is actually inside of him. Up next is Hot Cell Fall Spot. Those who knows. Located on top of the construction site next to Glass is a bunch of various props from both Downtown and Derwick, and also an older version of what the respawn transceivers look like. This is Vertigo. This is a notorious one. Remnant is one of those checkpoints that are super out of the way and difficult to get to, at least for the average player. I remember back when a few glove components were scattered across the map, but the glove itself wasn't released. Some people convinced the unknowing masses into thinking the last part was up there, and then I watched them scramble to try and get it. It was hilarious. It was hilarious in the same way as pouring molten aluminium into anthills. Good times. Here's Swag, No Way Dude, which is a reference to the ads scattered across the map with that very text. During the recording of this part, I saw what can only be described as a vicious territorial dispute between these two top-headed characters, and it looks like the monkey came out on top. Nature sure is beautiful. The sync point next to Art of Power Slide is called Art of Interiors. Isn't that neat? This is one of those sync point names that reference something close to it, like a challenge, building, or time trial. Another one is Fahrenheit. It's called that because it's right next to the time trial Celsius, which is more important than the sync point. Just like how in real life, Celsius is also more important and better. And don't even think about bringing up Kelvin. I don't want to hear any contrarian hipster nerd bullshit, so keep it to yourself. This one's called Above Martyr. I can think of at least one reason why. A lot of people have suggested that apartments be added to Reborn, and there is a chance that it might happen. If it does happen, it's pretty safe to assume it's gonna be at the place called Apartments. Here's one that comes in a pair. The High Point and Low Point. How cute. They are located at the lowest section of Artemis. Another pair? I don't really like this one, but I felt obligated to include it because of the gimmick. Here's a fun fact. Despite being just as large, if not larger, than Downtown, Derwick doesn't get nearly as many sync points as Downtown. I think Downtown should stop hawking all the fucking sync points like a fat slob and leave some for the rest of the district, but that's just my opinion. Here's Not Airflow. It's not Airflow, and is in fact something else. Clover Drift is one of those checkpoints like Remnant that are difficult to get to. Getting here doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, so don't feel bad if you don't have it. But if you do, at least there's a cute little message from Iris here. This one's called yellow grass, which I assume is a more warm version of yellow snow. Yum! Fucking stupid bit. This area is super cool. There's a bunch of awesome graffiti and even a radio playing music. What more could you want? Vandalism is awesome, and you can quote me on that. Lastly, in Fragment here, we have Calm's Commune, which I just think is a jolly good name. Also within Fragment you can find Times Square, which is a reference to the real life place with the same name. Dumbass. This is Neb's lair. I'm going out on a limb here and guessing this is Neb. Hi Neb. Here's another time trial sync point duo. You see, the trial is called Needle, and the sync is called Haystack, which is funny because, you know, needle in a haystack. On April 9th, 2025, I saw a man get dragged into a decrepit old van by hooded figures, and I did nothing about it. Here's High-Rise View. I think my game is haunted though, because High-Rise just isn't there. Weird stuff, man. This one's called Vent Squad because of these 4 vents. I didn't include the sync point in the shot, because that's really not what's important here. Drippy Domicile, along with having a dope-ass name, is one of the only places on the map with water. That's pretty damn cool. What a joke. Thank you, I'll be here all day. Except I won't. That was the last sync point. If this video helped you in any way, please let me know in the comments, because that was not the intention, and I did something wrong. And also, if I missed any references, feel free to yell at me. And also, thank you for all the resources provided by the Parkour Reborn wiki. The people working on that don't get nearly as much credit as they should. So shoutouts to them. And hey, since you made it this far, I know you're chill. So feel free to add me on Roblox if you want to. And thank you for watching my awesome video. Bye bye. 1.5 tomorrow.